Shri Gurubhyo Namaga children. I am happy to welcome you all to our online learning initiative. Class 9, subject Science Biology. Name of the lesson Living World of Plants, Plant Physiology. In the previous class, we discussed about photosynthesis. In that topic, what is photosynthesis and what are the requirements needed for photosynthesis and what is the overall equation. So all this we covered yesterday. Now we are going to discuss a new topic, that is exchange of gases. The leaves have tiny holes called stomata. All leaves have a tiny holes called stomata through which the exchange of air takes place. These holes are so minute we cannot see through our naked eye. It will be visible only through microscope. So once again I am repeating, all leaves have a tiny holes called stomata, small holes through which the exchange of air takes place. These holes are so minute that we cannot see through our naked eye. It will be visible only through microscope. The air exchange takes place continuously through this stomata only. How we are inhaling oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide through our external nostrils, nose, like that plants also inhale and exhale continuously through these stomata. Are you get it? Yes. Next, transpiration. The loss of water in the form of water vapor from the aerial parts. What is the aerial parts of the plant body? Shoot system. Stem is the aerial part. Leaves is the aerial part. Okay. From the aerial parts, the water loss takes place. Once again, I am repeating, the loss of water in the form of water vapor, small water drops through the aerial parts of the leaves, aerial parts of the plant body, is called transpiration. This is a very important question. There are three different types of transpiration. First one is called stomatal transpiration. Second one is called cuticular transpiration. And third one is called lenticular transpiration. First one, stomatal transpiration. This is the most and dominant form of transpiration. Once again, I'm repeating, this stomatal transpiration is the most dominant form of respiration, being responsible for most of the water loss in plants. About 90 to 95% of water are transferred through the leaves, okay, through the stomata. Stomata is a microscopic structure. It is small hole. It is guarded by a guard cell, a tiny hole present in the leaves, that is called stomata. Through the stomata only the transpiration takes place. Okay. So if the transpiration takes place through stomata is called stomatal transpiration. Okay. In this stomatal transpiration, most of the water, 90 to 95% of the water expired. Okay. So stomatal transpiration is the dominant form of transpiration three among the other types of transpiration. Second one is cuticular transpiration. This is the second type. In this type of transpiration, the water loss takes place through cuticle. Once again, I am repeating. This type of transpiration is responsible for the loss of water through the cuticle. What is cuticle? Cuticle is nothing but a small, thin film like covering on the epidermis. I am going to draw a structure of cuticle. This is called cuticle. And this red color, this is called epidermis. You know very well, epidermis is the outermost layer, outermost covering. It protects the inner tissue. Cuticle is nothing but a small, uh, thin film like structure, thin film like covering over the epidermis. Okay, if the water loss takes place through the cuticle, then it is called cuticular transpiration. Next one is lenticular transpiration. This type of transpiration is the loss of water from plants as vapor through lenticles. Lenticles are a small, a tiny openings that protrude from the bark. When the plant becomes a tree, the stem is nothing but trunk. Over the stem, over the trunk, it is covered with bark. The bark have a small opening that is called lenticles. If the water loss through the lenticles, then it is said to be lenticular transpiration. Once again, I am repeating, lenticular transpiration. This type of transpiration is the loss of water from plants as vapor through lenticles. Lenticles are tiny openings that protrude from the barks in woody stem and twigs as well as in other plant organ. Clear? Next, one small experiment to prove transpiration. See the diagram, see the picture. This is a potted plant, and above that plant, we just cover with a polythene bag. We just cover the plant with polythene bag tightly, and we just keep this potted plant as it is. After a period of time, we will just observe a small water droplets are seen in the walls of the plastic bag. Once again, I'm repeating, if you tie a plastic bag over a leaf and place the plant in light, you will be able to see water condensing inside the plastic bag. See here, small water droplets are condensed. Small water droplets are seen on the walls of the polythene bag. That shows the transpiration. So the plant lost their water as water vapor. Okay, the leaves release water as water vapor. Okay, so the water is let out by the leaves, and this water is deposited on the walls of the polythene bag. Okay, the leaves have tiny microscopic holes called stomata. Water evaporates through these stomata. Each stomata is protected by a cell called guard cell. Guard cell is a type of cell. It protects the stomata. These guard cell help in regulating the rate of transpiration by opening and closing of stomata. So the name itself you can easily understand. Guard means it protects the stomata. This guard cell helps in regulating the rate of transpiration. Typically, only 1% of water taken by taken up by the plants is used by the plant for producing carbohydrates. Once again, I'm repeating, just 0.1 percentage of water alone plants takes. The rest of the water is transferred through the leaves. Again, I'm telling, typically only 1% of water is taken up for photosynthesis. Okay, that is, if a plant absorb 1 liter of water means just only 1 milliliter will be used to produce carbohydrate. The remaining 999 milliliters evaporates from the leaf. You will be able to see how much water a plant release in the air. See, 99%, 99.9% of water is evaporates. Plant takes only zero point 0.1 percentage of water for photosynthesis. The rest of the waters are transparent. It evaporates as water vapor from the leaves. Okay, the next one is macronutrients and micronutrients for plants. Nutrients such as carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, and phosphorus. So, all these are minerals. Okay, nutrients. All these are required in substantial quantity. In large quantity, they are said to be macronutrients. Plants also require some other nutrients like iron, manganese, copper, boron, molybdenum, chlorine, silicon, cobalt, and zinc, but only in minute quantity. Such plants, such nutrients are called micronutrients. The water transportation system of plants takes these nutrients from the soil and circulate it in the plants. So once again I'm repeating, the water transportation system. Water transportation system means xylem vessels. Xylem only has the capacity to absorb water and minerals from the soil, and it conducts and it translocate, it transport all to the different parts of the plant body. It circulates to all parts of the plant body. Okay, the next, food chain, the link between plants, animals, and microorganisms. Plants are called primary producers. Why? They prepare their own food, so they are called producers. They produce starch, protein, and fats from sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide and other nutrients. Some of the animals and microorganisms consume the plants and grow and finally it gain weight. The carnivorous animals, the flesh eating animals, eat the animals that grass and gather energy from the plants. The dead plants and animals are again decomposed by microorganisms in the soil. From the soil, it converts into nutrients. So plants absorb these nutrients. Once again, I'm repeating, the dead plants and animals are decomposed by microorganisms. Some of the microorganisms decompose and make some of the nutrients available in a manner for the plants to absorb from the soil. Thus, a series of organisms each depend on the next as a source of food. So this link is said to be food chain. See here, this is the primary producer, grass. This grass is consumed by primary consumer, grass vapor. And again, this primary consumer is consumed by secondary consumer, and this secondary consumer is consumed by tertiary consumer, and then after a period of time the animals and the plants may die, and this is consumed by microorganisms which is present in the soil. So all this becomes a nutrients for the plants to grow. Again the plants absorb these minerals, nutrients from the soil, and this series of chain reaction continues. This is called food chain. Clear? The next, the last topic in that lesson, respiration. Like animals, like human beings, plants also respire. During respiration, plants inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. This process goes on a day, full day, 24 hours of the day and night. It is during the photosynthesis that it take up carbon dioxide and exhale oxygen. So only in the daytime the photosynthesis reaction takes place. During the time alone, plants take up carbon dioxide as well as oxygen. But in the night time, there is no photosynthesis. Plants inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. Obviously, photosynthesis occurs in most plants only during the daytime. Thank you, children. We will see in the next class.